Crafty friends, it's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Today is Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. Thank you so much for popping in here for our live tonight. I was joking around, not sure if you saw my comments with my daughter about how my grandson might be in on the action tonight, but he is hanging out with Uncle Alex. So tonight we are going to have some fun doing this card, and a new way of doing, it looks like ribbon, but it's a paper technique. So you may or may not have seen this before. I saw it online, thought it looked super complicated, but I'm going to show you how to break down the steps, and so you can make this beautiful layered look over here yourself. Now, first off, you got to tell me if you're there. If you're watching live, I'd love to know, and if you are watching the replay, well, leave me a comment so that I can interact back. This technique on this card features a couple of new products. They're available November the 1st. It's the Framed Florets bundle that does these beautiful ovals, the flower and the leaf, and then some pattern paper and such. So here is, hi Melanie, thanks for stopping in. Here's the framed florets, and when you see this price, this is Canadian dollars, $74.50 for the bundle, which is 13 stamps and 13 dies. There's the stamp set. It's got some beautiful greetings, wishes for a beautiful birthday, thank you with all my heart, nice big ones, and then a few smaller ones. And then here are the dies. Very, very lovely. So you can start getting this November 1st, unless you're a demonstrator, you can get this now. Of course, November 1st is coming up fast and furious next week on Tuesday. So one die will cut, it doesn't actually cut out the shape, so I've cut my piece of paper to whatever size this is, put the die down, and I get all this little hearts around it, but then the hearts come out so you can take them and put them on a project. They're kind of tiny. This one here does this shape, and then you also get this oval out of the center. Then this die cuts this frame and this oval. So what I've used on my card is this cutout and this cutout, and I put them on their side like that. So you're going to get a lot out of this cool bundle. Hi Brenda, welcome. Then there are these stamped images that the die will cut out, and then some leaf images. I'm going to use this one on my card. So I made this kind of template piece to share to show the versatility. This Framed Florets bundle is a new early release. It's going to be available in our January to June mini catalog, but the paper that I'm using tonight and these gold swirls, they're only available until January 4th or while supplies last. So I'll show you those too. Alrighty, let's get started on this fun card. You need a regular card base that measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 and folded in the middle. You could do it this way. That's the way I did this one. This is an 11 by 4 1/4. You get the same result. So I just did for this card here the 8.5 by 5.5. So that's going to be my card base. It's light enough. I probably don't need a layer on the inside. We can set that aside. And then it's important for laying these pieces down with the template I'm going to show you to have this piece that's 2 inches by 5 inches. So it's going to layer onto a piece that is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. But we're going to make this zigzag look here. And then we've got our decorative pieces. So let me show you how I was able to do this. So let me get all my pieces out. I suggested you would want 6 strips in one pattern and 5 strips in a coordinating pattern. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to set them over here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the floral pattern. It's the same paper on both sides. And this I don't need just yet. So we'll tuck those out of the way. And I made a little template that will help me line these up on my cardstock. So all I did was take the corner here of my sheet, and I'm trying to mark off every 1/2 inch. So this piece is 2 inches wide by 5 long. If I lay it down on top of this corner piece, I've gone ahead and to the right with a black marker, I've put where the 1/2 inch is. Okay, so that's what I've done. Don't look at this mark here. That was my first one, but it wasn't, my paper wasn't wide enough. So I can just see where the 1/2 inch marks are on my little template. Because here's what we're going to do. Keeping this here, we're going to take this piece. Let's see if I've got this right. We want to put the top left point to the top left of the blue, and then we're going to go down to the 1/2 inch mark where I put my little mark. So at 4.5, that's where the top of this layer is going to go. I'm not going to glue them yet. I'm going to show you kind of what happens. And then I'm going to go at the 4-inch mark and do the same thing. So I've got the top corner of this piece at 4 inches, and then it comes down to an angle over on the right at the 3.5, and so on. And don't worry about the excess, we're going to cut it off. The important thing is getting that point at the inch mark, and then having this come down on an angle to the 1/2 inch mark. So that's why this piece of blue is 2 inches wide, but your strips are 2.5 inches long. So you've got a little bit of extra to play with. And then this one's going to go like that. So we're going to glue them down like that. Then we're going to come back in. We're not going to do the top, but we're going to go from the 1/2 point over to the 4-inch point. And we're going to glue these back on the other angle. See? And that's going to give the idea of the ribbon. And then at the end, we'll just add this piece where we need it to, so that we cover it up. All right, so let's go back to the first position and grab our liquid glue, because that's my friend. And I'm going to put some on the back of these. So we're going to do all of one color strip first. Oops, this liquid glue just doesn't want to get started. I've got about 3 or 4 of them on the go. It's time to kind of shake them down and get them to come out. All right, so we've got this on our template on a piece from 2 inches to 5 inches. The top left corner's, the top left corner is going to go by the 5, and then this bottom strip is going to come down and veer off at the 1/2 inch mark. I'm sure it's not going to matter if it's not perfectly straight. If I had some temporary adhesive, that would help hold it in place, but we can do this. We got this, because we don't have to be perfect. All right, so top left corner at the 4-inch mark. This right side goes off at the 1/2 inch mark, and that's the angle you get. So we'll continue on down at each inch mark. I saw someone do this right then left, then right then left, and I thought, oh goodness, I can't, my little brain can't process all of that. Okay, this paper is really pretty. I made some swap cards on the weekend at the scrapbooking retreat I was at to get them in the mail on this cool new suite. And I had so much fun playing with it. All right, so there's our first set of ones placed. So you can see they're all on the same angle because I'm using my little template. The other thing you could do if you wanted is at halfway down, and then every inch after, you could put a little pencil mark on your paper, but the template means I can use it over and over again and until it wears out. Okay, so now this one is going to go from the 1/2 inch mark on the right over down to the 1-inch mark. So it's just zigzagging across. See that? So there's this one, and then that one, and we're going to trim the edges off. And we'll get that going. So not as complicated as it first looked to me. I suppose at 2.5 inches, you could probably not have to make it quite so long as that. But I wanted some excess just in case I goofed up and I needed some help. Because that doesn't ever happen, right? So once again, you can sort of see my 1/2 inch marks. Just the top of that one, down to this one. I guess I could make my template even wider to see better. But this seemed to work the first time around, so I'm going to keep it as a template. To help me going forward. There's that one to there. And it's starting to look like ribbon. That's why it's a ribbon wrapped ribbon technique with paper. It does. It looks like ribbon. There we go. And I'm not overly concerned with my patterns in them being perfectly matched up or anything like that. I mean, it depends what you use and how that's going to look. So then I'm down to the first, like a 1/2 inch up here. So I'm going to go this, and it's going to go right down to the corner of my paper. So it's really just a sliver that ends up staying on here. So I don't want to put a lot of glue on it because it'll be gluey on the back. There to there. I think actually once you get the first ones on, you probably don't need the template again. Woo! Because it wants to stick. There we go. And then on the top piece, over here, I want to go from here to the edge. So once again, it's a very small piece. Is that right? Yeah, that's the right angle. Just looking at it so many different ways. Okay, so we'll put this one. So we have this blue piece peeking out all over, up to the corner to the top. Oop, I need to move that up a little bit. There we go. All right, so we've got 6 going to the right and 5 going down to the left. Now we're going to flip it over, and it would be a good idea to probably let it dry. But I'm going to grab my scissors, which will get very gummy, and I'm going to cut off using the Balmy Blue as my kind of base, my baseline here, and I'm just going to cut off all these excess pieces, which is really just a little bit of scrap, not like I'm wasting anything much. Uh-oh, somebody's unhappy upstairs. Somebody's unhappy upstairs. Grandma to the rescue shortly. Hang in there, dude. Actually, I think the uncles have got this really down well. They know how to change him. They know how to get the bottles ready. They know how to keep him happy by bouncing him. And I mean, really, at his age, at 4 months, that's pretty easy to keep him happy. Okay, so then this is how this turned out. How lovely, right? So I used a little bit different colors this time. I'm going to put this on a 2 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Evening Evergreen to kind of match that up. That pulls that lovely green in. I also happen to have lots of Evening Evergreens, so good to use it up. All right, and then my card base comes in, and then this piece can go on the left. It would also look equally nice centered. Or you could do it, actually, well, I don't think you could go that way, but you could put it this way, but I do like the vertical over here. So I'm just going to glue this directly down versus popping it up. I've already got my greeting done because it was about showing you how to do this technique, not so much how to do the stamping. Okay, so there's that layer. Let's see, we have some pieces to embellish with in my little pouch here. Oh, right, because I had started to cut these out. So just to go back to my little cheat sheet, this circle would come out of this die, the center of this die. So it's the same as this red piece down here. And this white circle is this one, which comes out of this frame piece. Pretty nice. And so I can put this on here, but I don't want to take up my pretty pattern this time. I didn't want to put a big circle, or sorry, oval on it. So I'm just going to decorate with the greeting. So let's get some dimensionals on this. Need to pop it up a little bit. And just add a little bit. And if you had some ribbon, you could stick that behind too. That would be really pretty. And I'm going to add, this is one of the dies from the framed florets bundle. And I put adhesive sheet on the back before I cut it. That means it'll have a nice sticky back like a sticker. And I don't have to worry about sticking little bits of liquid glue here, there, and everywhere. So we just have to get it started in a corner and pull that backing sheet off. And when you do, any of the little pieces usually that are in the die that are staying on your paper, they often come out when you pull that backing sheet off. It just helps them come out. So I'll just take a quick peek. I have one little insert piece here. I'll just push that through with my scissors. And there's this beautiful branch. We will stick this on here. How will I stick this? I like it just around the edge like that, but I feel like that's going to take away. I hadn't really thought this through. There we go. I'm going to just put it like this. Put the branch through like that. And then I stamped and die cut one of the flowers, which I'll stick on there with a little dimensional. Beautiful little flower. I always love having little flowers. They go a long way. And then I'm going to put a gem on there, and I'm going to show you these new swirls. So again, these, I think the swirls are $11, maybe less. And the paper that I'm using here are for a limited time only. They're available starting November 1st until January 4th, or while supplies last. You know how things go fast sometimes. So if you like them, they're very nice. They're little gold with a swirl on the embellishment. I'll put a couple more up here. Oop, it jumped around. Another one there. There we go. And that's our card. So, a very fun wraparound ribbon way to do paper. All right, thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And I will be encouraging you to make your template if you're going to try this. So you just need 5 inches by 2 inches, but make it a little bit longer. Mark every ½ inch, starting at ½ inch down every ½ inch. And then you've got your 1 inch on the other side, and you'll be able to line them up. All right, that's it for me. See you next week. Have a good week. Bye for now.